Show us the edge. Yes. The chip on the shoulders, the fight and the passion that comes from within. Whoa. Try to win on every level. Yeah. Expectations high. Gotta show them you can fly. Play harder, better, smarter. Baby, put the league on notice. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah. Whoa, and see the walk of shame enough. Wanna see the walk of winning time to come up and bring out the apple. Don't every play, every possession. How bad you want it, love, do you want it all? This ain't a blood on blood, built for something greater. Attacking all obstacles, coming for the ring, my precious. You got the juice, the will, the heart, the fire. Show 'em the proof, show 'em the it shall be done. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
As best we can, we try to concentrate on taking care of our business here.
It's pretty weird though. You're 11 over 500, and you're only one game out of the play. This seems almost unfair, right?
It's competitive, especially in the Western Conference. Teams have gotten better. I think the play-in tournament or play-in opportunity has made teams more competitive, and so it's going to come down to the last few games like it has the last couple seasons.
Your first 2 years here involved in the play-in, were able to advance out of it the first one. Last year could have gone either way, didn't go your way. How much of that is the goal for this team of we just don't want to have to mess with that this year?
It's definitely one of our goals is to take another step, and that step for us is to not be in the play-in. And so, we can control our own destiny with piling up as many wins as we can.
Do you think 50 is enough, Coach?
We'll see. I like that number, though. If we could get there, that'd be good.
Willie, I know you've been talking and touched on it, having Zion, Brandon, CJ all healthy, all playing together at the same time. For you, how much, when you're trying to learn how this group plays and meshes on the court together, how big was it just that have that finally, have a stretch where they're all healthy? How much of a relief was that, I guess, for you and for the coaches?
It's a huge relief. Because it allows us to see what works, what doesn't work, what groups we can play together, how to watch film, get on the floor of practice, and work on the things that those three guys will do on the floor together.
What are some of the takeaways when you've seen them that you've gone, all right, that thing works, or then other things you go, I may have to take it. Do you have any specifics of what works with those?
I've kind of been talking about it a little bit probably the last couple of weeks, but early in the game, putting the ball in Zion's hands, it's harder to help off CJ, harder to help off Brandon. When he subs out, now B.I. has the ball a bit more. So we've been kind of tinkering with that offensively, challenging that group defensively to be as good as they can and playing with more force to start games, things like that. But, we're able to see those concepts because for the most part, they've been helpful this season.
You talk about that defense. Is that the key for that group? If they all buy in defensively, is that the key to making this team make that next step?
That's one of the keys is buying in defensively. And, they're taking steps in the right direction, but we know there's still improvement there.
How much do you think the experience from these last 2 years make it into the plan, kind of prepares you guys for what this final stretch looks like over the last 2 months?
I think that experience, it definitely pays off. And now it's about, putting the work in and being ready to play these games that we have in front of us. They're all going to be important. And it's not the talk that we have more time. We don't. It's a sprint now, and every team coming after All-Star break is going to look to make some moves to put themselves in a position to have a good postseason run, and so are we.
Apart from Dice, is everyone good? Health-wise, like you expect to have everyone active tomorrow? Apart from Dice?
We'll see. We'll see. Bi was out today with an illness, so we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
You feel like you're better equipped than you are a year ago to go a lot deeper. The whole team just retooled. Tell me why.
I do. I feel like we're better equipped. I feel like the experience that we had the first two seasons, making it to the playoffs, we had a stint where we played with Zion for the first time. We had another postseason appearance, not the playoffs, but we played a play-in game that came down to the wire. And now, having this same group back together again, healthy, familiarity with each other, and going out and executing and understanding the importance of the details, I think that gives us an opportunity to be good.
Really, before the game against Washington, you mentioned you're going to tighten up the rotations, especially after Dyson got hurt. Now you're talking about sprint to the end. Can we expect to see more minutes than maybe for your starters, for your key guys moving forward? So I think Zion's on the pick here this month, playing 3 more minutes a game. Same thing with BI in the last few months.
Yes, that's the goal. The goal is that their minutes go up a little bit. The rotation gets a little tighter. And kind of move from there and see how it works.
It's still one of the priorities going to be to get that 3-man unit, CJ, also the starters playing a little bit better. They haven't really turned that page yet, it seems like.
We're working on it. We're constantly talking to those guys about their production on the floor as a starting group, and we continue to try to do a good job of getting our subs in quickly so that we can put the right groups on the floor together, and that's what we're seeing more and more.
Circling back to when you mentioned putting the ball inside to start the game a little bit. JJ Redick, my former teammates, mentioned that those actions over the last 9 games produced 1.4 runs per possession and really effective. Just what do you attribute that level of success to?
When you're putting the ball in arguably one of the best players in the NBA, you're putting the ball in his hands and you're simplifying everything and allowing him to make decisions. And he's going to look for Brandon. He's going to look for CJ. He's going to look to attack when those opportunities are there. And it's hard you got to make some tough decisions defensively. If you don't help off those guys, he's going to the basket and he's scoring. If you help off those guys, they're knocking down open shots. And that's what it does for us offensively.
And you talk a lot about how defense fuels your offense. In this situation, is there a component of the offense fueling the defense a little bit, allow you to, if you're scoring at such a good rate, you get back, you set in half court, you're not worried about transition defense on the opponent because you're able to just get back and just play more of a half court defense?
It all ties in together for sure. When you're running good offense, it's tough for teams if they're taking the ball out of the net, and vice versa. When you're getting stops, it allows us to play fast and play in the open floor where that's some of our best basketball. So it definitely ties in together.
And on the defensive side of things, sometimes when teams kind of put Zion in a screen and roll action, you guys have had him hedging out a little bit. That's worked pretty well for your team, just from an analytical standpoint. What do you think he's doing well in those situations? And what's the general idea behind maybe hedging or blitzing that ball?
Well, we're challenging him to take on those opportunities to execute the game plan. And sometimes that is blitzing a screen, and sometimes that's switching and actually guarding and not having to be in rotations. And he's taking on a challenge. I feel like our defense is solid right now, and we'll continue to look at it as the season progresses. But it's really about those guys taking on the challenge defensively, and when they do, we know that it works.
And one last follow-up with regards to that, in those situations, he ends up far away from the basket, not necessarily in rebounding position. So is that something you can maybe counterbalance by okay, well, if he's not in a rebounding position, maybe we can get him out in transition if there's a missed basket,
Sure. If he's challenges, we want him to challenge shots if he's above the 3-point line and he's challenging shots, obviously stay in, make sure we secure the rebound. But now you got whomever he's challenging is probably a mismatch for him. If we rebound, now we're looking for him early in the shot clock. Sure.
As much as it feels like you guys were on the road the last 2 months, how good is it just to have a bit of a homestand right after the break?
It's good. As much as we can be home, sleep in our own beds, not have to be on planes and hotels, it helps us. It helps us prepare. It helps us come in our practice facility and work on things and practice. But at the end of the day, I've said it before, we have to put the work in, which we're doing. We got to come out and execute, and we got to continue to try to stack games and win as much as we can coming down the stretch.
All right. For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican post-game report. Much love to the fam. And listen, fam, this is the Pelicans after the break stream, man. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate brother Aramis for dropping the super chat. Much love to you guys. Hope you guys are having a fantastic middle of your week. I gotta tell you the truth, fam. This week is moving along pretty slow for me, man. Trying to get to the weekend. Shout out to brother Aramis for all things Pelicans. That's right, brother. Shout out to you. All right, so big ups to the fam, man. Y'all feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. PPR is up in this thing. I'm Big Q. Listen, fam, 27 games remaining. 27 games remaining. Your Pelicans, 33-22, 11 above above 500, right? 11 games above the losses. 3 straight wins the Pelicans currently are on, and they have 3 road games. So the Pelicans, really 4 road games if you include that Washington matchup on February the 14th prior to the break. But Houston, Miami, Chicago, all here Thursday, Friday, and Sunday matchups for the Pelicans, man. Hopefully we can close out February very strong. Houston, Miami, Chicago, and then away at New York and Indiana come, and then that'll be the end of the February, as March 1st will start the home matchup against Indiana. But hopefully we can close out the the home schedule pretty good, man. And like we said, Houston is they're not all that, man. I think they won 3 out of the last 10 contests, but they play the Pelicans really well. The Pelicans play them really well, and they're currently leading us 2-1 in that series. So we'll preview that matchup as well today. So shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all being up in this thing. Brother Irvin says, talk about a projected finish in 27 games. How many wins y'all see realistically speaking? Bam. What's up, brother Jerry? Shout out to your OG. All right. That's a good one, bro. And this is the thing about this, man. Let me get that schedule up, man, so we can actually kind of delve into it. I got some news I'm going to go over with you guys today. Pelicans did make some minor moves with personnel. We'll cover that today on the stream. Now, this is the schedule right now as it stands for the Pels, as you can see. Let's go over it. And a lot of the family members, man, you look at this schedule and, man, they got some difficulty in it. Just closing out February. If the Pelicans come to play, they should have no problem. I ain't gonna say no problem, but they should beat Houston. Miami, always seems to present a problem for the Pelicans, but we're home here. Should be able to take care of business against Chi-Town. New York is something going up to New York that's going to have a degree of difficulty. So is Indiana. Tyrese Halliburton, Siakam, and those guys. So there's going to have some difficulty there. Indiana back home, which we got that one February 28th. Then we come back with a home game against the Pacers. And then, of course, as you span down the rest of these games, away at Toronto, away at Philadelphia, away at Atlanta, home for Cleveland, home for the Clippers, home for Portland. You got Brooklyn, who just fired their coach. Orlando, who we just seem to have all kind of problems with. Miami's going to be tough in Miami. At Detroit, can't take anything lightly, but should be a win. OKC is a difficult cover. Milwaukee is Milwaukee. Boston is Boston. These are teams that we get in that stretch of Oklahoma, Milwaukee, Boston, Phoenix. That is crucial. And then Orlando, might as well throw Orlando in there too, because the Pelicans seem to struggle against them with their length. But the reality is, man, if you look at the rest of the schedule, that's a tough stretch of games when you get right into that late March, early April segment. OKC, Milwaukee, Boston, and Phoenix. Boy, oh boy, that's some tough ones. Then you have Orlando. On the back of that, you come home for the San Diego matchup. Now, of course, all those games, OKC, Milwaukee, Boston, Phoenix, and Orlando, as well as Sandy and San Antonio, are all games in the Smoothie King Center. So there's some kind of reason the Pelicans always seem to play. They play better on the road. That's really kind of crazy. If you think about it, family, they look more comfortable. And record wise, it tells you. You look at their record wise, they have a better road record by, they're 17-12 on the road versus 16-10 at home. And I would have thought that, that probably they'll have a little bit more home wins there. But they are, if you look at it from a positive standpoint, the Pelicans seem like they're comfortable on the road, which I guess that's a bonus, because there's not too many teams in the NBA that have winning home away records that we've seen, man. And you look at the standings, man, it's like the Pelicans are one of the top 2 teams. I think they're the second best team in the West in terms of road wins. I think Timberwolves have 20 of them. The Pelicans have like 17, and under them is the Kings with 16 wins. So that's a positive thing as well, that they're comfortable going on the road. But this is difficult, man. Y'all put that. Yeah, I know. Irvin says, yeah, OKC, Orlando stretch. Yeah, that is going to be interesting. Let me get you guys to comment on that. 27 games remaining. A lot of people think 20-7 perhaps. What do you feel? Y'all throw y'all in there. What are y'all thinking? Somebody threw out that and said, man, Q, I'm thinking 20-7. Of course, it's not going to be 27-0. That's ridiculous. But 20-7, that means that we just played Willie starting off. That means that the Pelicans really would start buying into his message and really start dialing this thing up. This is the crucial stretch of games. 27 after the All-Star break. A lot of the minute restrictions, you're gonna still see some of that. And Willie touched on that in the presser I just played. A lot of that's going to be peeled away. He mentioned the shrinking of the roster, going from, they're probably gonna go to like a 9-man rotation. And you know who that is. Shout out to Lex, you saying, what's that mean for young Ray Allen? That mean he's gonna be watching the game like us, but he just gonna have a front row seat. So I'm looking at like probably 9 people. I don't think 8. That's ridiculous, but probably 9-man rotations going deep into the season. He's going to try to refine those. And Willie's had issues moving around and adjusting his roster. Got a deep team, man. You really, if he was more balanced in his rotations, he could play 10 guys, a night, and they all get the proper rest and everything. He could do that if he really wanted to, if he was more disciplined with his rotations, but it is what it is. OG says 17-10. Thank you, Dan. 17. That is very logical right there. That's also very commonsensical too, 17-10. But like I said, fam, when y'all start marking these down, if you look at this schedule, let me superimpose this a little bit more so y'all can see this. Hold on. Let me see if can I get that a little bit better than that? All right. So if you look at this stretch of games, man, like Houston, we know the Pelicans dealt with, but if the Pelicans show up, they should beat Houston. Miami is always a difficult matchup. Chicago should be a win for the Pelicans. New York is playing really well right now. They're going to have to step up their game in New York. They go to the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton, they're playing, really good right now. He's on another level. Then we have them back-to-back nights, February 28th and March the 1st, one on the road, one at home. Then we go to Toronto, Philadelphia, depending on what's going on with Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey and those guys. Atlanta, which should be a good one. Cleveland, which is that Cleveland team is a tough team. The Clippers have all of a sudden got their back up against the wall about the Pelicans, taking them apart the last several games. So the Pelicans, they beat us, handled the business the last time around. So they got their back up against the wall about the Pelicans and not letting them do that anymore. So Portland is another team we should be able to get. Brooklyn also should get wins. Orlando should beat Orlando, but like I said, styles make fights. That's an old boxing term, but it does apply in the NBA as well. Man, Orlando, that length that they have gives the Pelicans problems. But the Pelicans play their game like they're supposed to, man. And like I said, a lot of this is suspect because it's all based on how consistent the Pelicans can be over the next 27 games. So it has to be a mentality with Willie talking about buying into what he's talking about playing defense. And he spoke about the Zion Williams Williamson point Zion thing, which we've seen him go away from that. I don't know what to think about that. Y'all comment in the section about the point Zion situation. They don't really do it like start the game off with Zion like they did before, and we've seen some good results with that. They'll go into their regular offense and then they'll later on kind of cycle back to the Zion thing. And I thought that was something that they wanted to get him going early in the game, getting him involved early on. But we didn't see that a lot over these last several games or so, where they really just kind of pinpointed and just focused on the Zion thing. Maybe that'd be a point of emphasis over the next 27 contests that we'll see them kind of cycle back to that fact, because we all realize that those minute restrictions that we seen prior to the break, a lot of that is started. Like I said, that's a lot of that's going to be, peeled away. Not completely, but you're going to see a lot of that opening up, because the idea is to get him to the postseason, to get this team healthy to the postseason. With 27 games remaining, that's the focus of the health staff and the coaching staff and the administrators. Let's get this team to the playoffs healthy. If we can get them in the playoffs healthy, then that gives us a chance to kind of make some things pop in the long run. So anyway, all right. All right, Brother Aramis says, I got us winning the next 6 to 18 games as a large part will be on health, but this is going to be a tough stretch here. And I'll also play. Yeah, that's right. And that, let me finish up on that, Brother Aramis. Let me go on the rest of this staff, because like I said, I was looking at the stretch of games the Pelicans have after they come back from the road. They go on the road for 4 straight games from Tuesday, March the 19th to Sunday, March the 24th. Brooklyn, Orlando, Miami, and Detroit in that stretch. The Pelicans come home for 5 straight home games from March the 26th, that's a Tuesday, to April the 5th, that's a Friday. And within that 5-game stretch, they have actually 6 games, if I count them. That's 6 games, 6 home games, which is a very interesting stretch. Now, 2 of those games, NBA TV games, Milwaukee and Boston, of course, but 6 games are going to be home straight from the Pelicans from the 26th to April the 5th. OKC, Milwaukee, Boston. Thank goodness that most of these games are not back to backs. They're split apart. But you look at OKC, that's an issue. Milwaukee, you already know. Boston, you already know. Phoenix, you already know. So that is 4 really tough games that the Pelicans are on their square, man. That should be getting the Pelicans rounded up for really getting them ready for playoff style basketball. Because you see in OKC, you seeing Phoenix, those 2 guys are going to be in the West playoffs. And Milwaukee and Boston are 2 of the top teams in the East. So if that stretch of games, even Orlando thrown in there in April the 3rd game and how they play us, that should be some real pre-playoff style basketball we should be witnessing right there before we knock off San Antonio on April the 5th. And then the Pelicans go on the road from April the 7th to the 12th, San Antonio, at Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State, all are road games, there. And then they close the season against LeBron's Lakers in the Smoothie King Center. And that is the game that a lot of people want to see the Pelicans smack the hell out of them, but we'll see what's going on as we get further down. But like I said, Pelicans 3-game winning streak. They have 3 home games this week to finish out this week. Houston, Miami, and Chicago. And just for the family members, February 23rd is my birthday. So yes. All right. Shout out to the fam. All right. So much love, man. Kelv says, I hope they can go 17-10. That is the sentiment, look like the overwhelming sentiment that we have. Jacob, shout out to you, fam, says 20 wins. All right, 20. Okay, he got the 20-7 mantra. Brother Jerome, shout out to you, says 16-11. Trey, shout out to my boy Trey, says 15 wins. So it's all very positive, man, in the end. Anyway, let's move it along, fam. Let's kind of jump into the next stuff here. And like I said, we're going to go over the Western. That's the Western Conference as it currently stands right here. And listen, the Pelicans, they've taken care of business against a lot of these teams, man. And like I said, it all goes back to how the Pelicans go into the next 27 games. What's the mentality, the focus? Do they ratchet it up that mentality, that intensity, the attention to detail factor? Do they do that? Do they sink in? Also, was the comments that if they need any more inspiration, they could seek out commentary or comments made by Draymond Green, of anything. You know, Draymond Green was at the press conference. Old Draymond opened up his big flapping mouth and turned around and talked about the Pelicans, man, and said, you know, he was doing some broadcasting and he took some opportunity to take some shots at the Pelicans. So, Rail Wright, our Pelican contributor at thewhothatdaily.com, he wrote on it. Golden State Warriors Draymond Green, known for his candid and often contentious remarks, recently weighed in on the Pelicans' potential threat in the league during the NBA All-Star break and a spirited discussion with WNBA icon Candace Parker and NBA Hall of Famer Charles Barkley. Green confidently dismissed concerns about the Pelicans as contenders. Barkley's assertion that, quote, nobody wants to play the Pelicans, end quote, especially with Zion Williamson raising prominence, was met with Green's counter. He definitely is taking the next step, but I don't think anybody's worried about the Pelicans. Let me play it. This is what he said right here. This, and he had it linked into this thing. Y'all put one.
Down in New Orleans, they got probably one of the deeper teams in the NBA. I don't think anybody wants to play the Pelicans if Zion is playing great.
And it has been nice to see Zion really figure it out this season.
For sure, he's definitely taking the next step. But I must say, I don't think anybody's worried about the New Orleans Pelicans. But now, I don't think anyone is worried about the New Orleans Pelicans. Dude, they got. I'm just
See, that's the thing. The first time he said, I don't think anybody worried about the damn Pelicans. That's what he was saying. And of course, you know, if Draymond is, you know, he takes shots at the Pelicans. But let me just play this great article by Rel, man. This isn't the first instance of Green's outspoken attitude towards the Pelicans following their 120-109 victory last year, where the Warriors overcame a significant deficit. Green remarked in the post-game interview, the Pelicans aren't cut like that, casting doubt about their mettle against a seasoned caliber team like the Warriors. Green's remarks should encapsulate the competitive spirit of the Warriors. The Pelicans could and should use Green's comments as inspiration to cement their place among the Western Conference elite. Now, here's what well, I ain't gonna call him that, but this is what Draymond Green had to say.
Draymond, you did it defensively, you did it playmaking wise, you did it some other ways too, but ultimately, what was the deciding factor and how you guys were able to come back and get this win?
We started playing with some heart and intensity. That first quarter and a half, they punked us. And we were down 20. It takes a real one to talk when you're down 20. And I was able to get my guys going, and then they started doing what they do, and I can do what I do.
What got you going? You were going at them in that second quarter. What got you to that level?
Foul BI. It's a good hard foul, and CJ started talking. You know, you don't start talking, play the game, and just enjoy what y'all were doing. They were playing a good game, and he started talking, and that's my type of game. I like that. That's what I do. I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan. That's how we play. And so once they wanted to go there, I enjoyed that.
So in the third quarter, you picked up your fourth foul 30 seconds into that quarter. What you want to stay in? With the gross running high, how were you able to maintain the poise at that?
Well, coach trusts me, Steve trusts me to play with those 4 fouls, and they made the decision to try to go at me the very next play, and it was a turnover, and that changes the game because all of a sudden you thought you get my fifth, and now you allowed me to talk again, and that was beautiful.
So, Dre, you're the best trash talker in the league. I'm going to go out there and say that. Can you give us a PC version of something that you were saying over to the Pelican side tonight?
Yeah, I just told them they wasn't cut like that. That's not what they do. You know, we're all good guys. I'm not acting like I'm a bad guy, but I like to talk and play. That really gets me going, and that's not everybody's game.
All right, there he is. They're not cut like that. That's what old Draymond says. They're not cut like that, you know, and Draymond, and listen, like I said, man, it's just this inspiration and fuel for the Pelicans fire that they need to deal with going forward, man. And that's what it's all about, man. Just making sure they remember this type of stuff, remember this foolishness and the craziness that Draymond Green comes up with and the foolishness that he says, use it as motivation. All right, let's move on to the next article, fam, from NOLA.com. Pelicans coach Willie Green says team goal is to avoid play-in tournament this year. Played some of this. Green first 2 years with the Pelicans, Green experienced the ecstasy of advancing out of the play-in tournament and the agony of being eliminated in it. I remember you remember that he was crying and Monty was wiping his tears. Y'all remember that? In 2022, the Pelicans won a pair of do-or-die games against the Spurs and the Clippers that earned them a first-round playoff series against the Suns. Last year, the Pelicans' playoff hopes were extinguished when they lost a close game to OKC at home. This spring, the Pelicans' goal is to avoid having to walk through the play-in tournament tightrope at all. Pelicans emerged from the All-Star break in sixth place in the Western Conference. The teams in the East, in each conference that get top 6 seeds automatically advance to the playoffs. The teams that finish in the 7th through 10th spots are forced to fight it out in the play-in tournament. It's definitely one of our goals, Green said, to take another step. That step is for us to not be in the play-in tournament. Amen to that. We can control our own destinies with piling up as many wins as we can. The Pelicans, 33-22, are 1 game ahead of the 7th place Dallas Mavericks, a game and a half ahead of the 8th place Kings. That means the Pelicans' margin for error is minimal in their final 27 games. Right now, the Pelicans are on a 49 win pace. When asked if they thought 50 regular season wins would be enough to make the playoffs outright, Green says, we'll see. Only one team in New Orleans franchise history has won 50 or more regular season games. That was the 07-08 Hornets, by far the most successful season in team history. They went 56-26 and came within 1 win of advancing to the Western Conference Finals. Those were terrific days. The Pelicans won 7 of 8 games before the All-Star break. On Thursday against the Rockets, they will go for the 4th consecutive win. The Pelicans will not have backup guard wing Dyson Daniels, who is recovering from the left knee surgery. It's possible they won't have Brandon Ingram either. Ingram missed the Wednesday practice with an illness, and his status for Thursday's game is unclear. So BI is averaging just over 21 points a game. Zion 22 and almost 22 and a half. CJ at 19 flat or similar scoring numbers. McCollum has shifted into more of an off-ball role good compared to his 2 previous years with the Pelicans. He has thrived in it. He's shooting over 42% from three-point range on 8 attempts per contest. McCollum said shooting threes was a point of emphasis for him this year. The Pelicans ranked 29th in three-point attempts a season ago. McCollum has done his part to make sure everything is taking more. There are a lot of attention, he said. Zion is getting doubled a lot. BI is getting doubled a lot. He turns back. That means I'm playing with a closeout or a defensive rotation, and I like my chances. In 2022, the Pelicans came back from double-digit deficits to beat the Clippers in the play-in tournament. 2 days later, they had to face the Suns in game 1 of their first-round series. You want to be able to rest during that time, CJ said. We have to be able to do these. We haven't been able to do these the last couple of years. When you do play in, you have to go right into the playoffs with no rest. I think that makes a little bit more, it makes it a lot more difficult. Absolutely. Obviously, you can't lose to your season is over. I think about taking advantage of the 27 games we have left, controlling our destiny and not having to worry about looking at the plan. So listen, this is true. And we all know this is commonsensical stuff, right? The Pelicans right now, man, are a team that, to be honest with you, fam, shout out to Shati, man. Good to see you in the chat. Slim, shout out to you too, brother. It's really interesting, man, to be honest with you, because we know for a fact there were games the Pelicans left out there. You know what I'm saying, fam? There were wins that the Pelicans statistically, from standing wise, should be a lot better than 33 wins. I mean, y'all guys put games in the chat where the Pelicans had the game and didn't close it out. It's not like, they've had some games when they got ran out the building, but a lot of the losses the Pelicans had were games where they just didn't close the damn game out. When they just broke down in the last few minutes and the other team took it from them. You know what I'm saying? So in essence, better play means more wins for the Pelicans early on. But I'm not crapping on the 33 wins. I think it's positive. But 27 games left, man. The Pelicans focus. They're going to tell you 1 game at a time. That's the approach. And it has to be, if the Pelicans play the style of ball that we've seen them play really well when everybody's out there playing defense and they're circulating the ball, they're not, going to hero ball and and all this kind of crap. The ball is moving, the ball has life, and guys are finding the easier shot and they're playing defense because they're feeling it, they're in it. The stars are involved, and then the role players are involved. There's not too many teams that can compete with that at that level. I mean, we talking about some of the NBA elite teams. They're playing at that level. The Pelicans would give them issues. And then, of course, we talk about the talent on the floor, but it's also the coaching as well. Coach Willie Green has to be a better coach, man, especially with some of these rotations and the things that we see him doing. But how serious I'm not saying that he's not serious, but how serious would the team listen to him, knowing that we're in a crunch, the stretch of games, 27 games left in the season? How would they dial in on what he's talking about here? So let's bring my girl Lex in. Lex, how you doing, Queen? Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Shout out to the fam, man. Jacob says, yeah, Houston, Dallas, Utah twice. You're absolutely right. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Pelicans had many games that they let out of their grasp prior to the All-Star break. And the thing is, get Willie Green, getting them to buy into everything and play a balanced style of ball. That's the thing. That's the focus for the next 27. Lexxah, welcome on in. You want to share some of your thoughts?
Hey, yeah, I just kind of jumped in on everything. So, what were you?
We talking about your favorite person in the world. We
Oh,
talking
you
about.
are so funny. Come on, man. I mean, oh goodness gracious. Hey, man, this second half. I mean, it's. I'm excited, but it's also scary because probably more so just because of Willie's coaching, his rotations, things that we've been talking about all season.
Right.
And he hasn't really changed those habits. He has stuck with them even when they don't work. He reverts back to, defense, obviously. Just his adjustments when he's going up against other coaches. Just his counter punches have not been there. So when I look at this team, I'm like, we had the talent to do it, but the coaching is a huge part of that. And
Right.
it's just kind of scary because it's like really it's up in the air. Like, what is Willie going to do? Is he going to come down from, having so much pride, being stubborn, being set in his ways and try something new? Because that it's just kind of scary with him, man. I really feel like he is going to be the downfall. You know what I'm saying? If this team is not where they need to be at, because he's set in his ways and he doesn't change them. I mean, we got like you said, it's crunch time and
Right.
it's time to show up and show out and really tighten up on a lot of things. But when I hear him, I've heard a few of I've seen a few of his videos and pressers and things. And when I hear him talk, I'm like, man, like you're talking about tightening up on some things, but it's like, is it the right stuff? Is it just tightening up on, oh, I'm going to be determined not to play Jayhawk, even though he provides shooting. He's a threat on the floor along with Trigger Trey. You know what I'm saying? It's those things that just, are you going to be so stuck on the fact, oh, he's a defensive liability? Well, even though Alvarado is a defensive player, he's also a defensive liability.
He plays, but the difference with Jose Alvarado is he's a lot, and I've studied Jose's game. Jose is intense. He doesn't stop. He's sneaky with he's just a great and fun player to write. His personality, he lifts them up. Like the last, several games we've seen, prior to the damn break is we've seen Jose come in there and literally flip the energy of the game. He came in right away, got a steal, got a layup, and just really flipped the game upside down. And
I'm not knocking that.
Right? You talking about his stature, but he's stronger than he looks. He
No, it's not that. When you're talking about strategies, look, I said this before, Big Q, man. Like, there's a flow and a vibe about the game. You have to read the game. It's like there's certain situations, okay, we need to incorporate energy. Okay, we bring in our energy guy. We need a boost of energy. You bring Jose in. But sometimes in certain situations, look, we need some shooting. We need let's just insert Jayhawk, see if he catches fire. We've seen him do that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like there's a flow and a vibe, and you have to read that. That's being strategic. You know, the thing is, there's going to be some games. We've had some games where Jose didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but like what he provides wasn't needed at that time, and that's okay. It's the same. Clearly, we know that with Jay Hawk, he's been sitting a lot. But the thing is, sometimes we do need more shooting to add more spacing. And I do want to share this with you. I went back and looked at some games, you know, because I have League Pass, so I'm able to go back and watch games and stuff. You know what teams have been doing when Najee and Jose are playing? They've been playing off of them. Like the defense looks at them and be like, oh, shoot, we ain't going out there to guard them. If you go back and look at games, they're left wide open because the defense is willing to leave them open. And yeah, y'all take y'all shot. Yeah, we'll live with that. They're cool with that. But if you have Trey in there and you have Jayhawk in the small amount of time that he's played, like you hear guys around the league talk about Jayhawk.
Yeah,
they know about him.
Yeah.
Like, oh shoot. Yeah, we got to cover that dude. If he comes in the game, we have to cover him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, even in that small amount of time, they know that they cannot leave that guy open. He's a shooter. He's a shooter. Even with the small amount of games that he's played, that dude can shoot. And guys around the league know it. Look, Paul George spoke highly of Jayhawk. He was like, "Oh man, like this is before their first game. They already knew about him.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, they've been knowing about him from
He strikes fear. You see what I'm saying? Like that is respect. How is it that other teams, other players from other teams have fear and respect for Jayhawk? But it's like, Willie, dude, do you understand what you have? Because when you're sitting him, you are just, again, helping the other team out. Oh, shoot, Willie ain't going to play Jayhawk? Cool. We don't got to worry about him. Play off of Najee, play off of Alvarado. We'll live with them, attempting those shots. You know, if they knock them down, they knock them down. If they don't, that's great too. But that's what they've been doing, and they're doing that now.
Lex, there's no debating your point. You're absolutely right. They will rather live with Najee Marshall and Jose Alvarado stroking threes than see Jayhawk hitting them for 3 or 4, 5 3-pointers a night. They're not gonna let that happen. And then you have sharpshooters. That was the idea for the Pelicans. For years, we were talking about the Pelicans having sharpshooters. We need shooting. I remember doing shows when that's all we
and now we got shooters and we're not using them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
one of them. Yeah, that's the thing about it though with Jayhawk. Him really talking about tightening rotations, and we talked about that, tightening the rotations, meaning that you looking at a 9-man rotation, tightening rotation, 9-man rotation.
And see, that's scary to me.
You know who's the 9? Who's going to be the 9 of the 9-man rotation, Lex?
Man.
Come on with it. Come on, Lex. Let's hear it.
I mean, well, you know who the starting 5 is.
Who's your 4 off the bench?
I mean, Trey.
Yep.
Jose and Najee are going to be playing. Yep. Even with Dyson down, I don't even know if Jayhawk is going to get any minutes. And I know he's going to be a valuable asset in the playoffs. He really is.
But you still have your 9th person is Larry Nance. Yeah. So that's your 4. And then of course we still have Matt Ryan here. Matt Ryan is there as well. So I mean, if I don't
the team just picked up a new shooter, and he shoots 44%.
Right. Yeah.
His name is Malcolm
Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got an article on that. So yeah, this is the thing that we dealing with here and now. So I agree with you, Lex, about the philosophy about Willie Green, but he goes more toward the defensive side of things to his detriment.
I
And
know.
I often say, where is Borrego? Because he respects the hell out of Borrego. I know Borrego, as an offensive minded coach, understands and knows the importance of having a guy like Jordan Hawkins out there. And it was the pressure from people outside of the building, the family base that was kind of always putting it on the reporters to kind of nudge at Willie about what's up with Jayhawk. And then even to the point where Willie says, called him what, Ray Allen or young Ray Allen or
Yeah.
whatever terms him. And
I,
then
and I keep mentioning that's why I call him Lil Ray Allen, because that's exactly what he said. He compared Jay Hawk to Ray Allen,
Ray
Steph Curry,
Allen.
and Klay Thompson. And even though Klay Thompson's role has changed, and he is still getting clock. He comes off the bench and he still gets clock. All those guys he named, they don't get DMPs.
No.
So why are you DMPing a Ray Allen? Why are you DMPing a Steph Curry? Why are you DMPing a Klay Thompson? Nobody in their right mind is going to do that as a head coach. That's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Willie's doing it, and I can tell you why. A lot of time Willie's doing it. Willie's doing it. It's got something to do with defense. that's the thing
But
that
you know
kills.
what? You know what though? Big Q. The
And,
thing is,
and also,
his,
Lex,
de-
not to take
his
this, he
defense ain't
relies
no
on
different than McCollum.
but he relies on his but that's a whole.
McCollum can't play defense. Have you actually looked at McCollum's defense? It's horrible.
Lex, he is some games better than others. Let me just tell you.
Everybody talks about Zion's defense, BI's defense. Man, CJ's defense is atrocious.
Yeah, so yeah. But Lex,
I mean, like, let's not act like he has the greatest defense, because he doesn't.
but they're not. But he still is a veteran. That's the whole thing. Willie trusts his vets. A lot of time, it's the guys that get you on the floor. It's just the temperament. He's been broken down.
You know what? We're
He's been
not
he's
in that case. Then we're not.
Lex.
We are
Hold
not.
on, Lex. I'm
Yeah.
saying that he was
Okay, go on.
we've psychoanalyzed Willie Green. It's not hard to tell with Willie. We know what it takes to get minutes with Willie Green. If you're a young player like a Herb Jones, your defense gets you there. Your offensive game, that's how pretty much what Herb did. He developed the offensive game later on, but his defensive game got him there. He even worked with Dyson Daniels. When Dyson Daniels' defense is there, he plays him. Even when Dyson wasn't even giving many points. It was nice when Dyson would put up one attempt. It didn't score any points, but Dyson was still getting minutes. So it's like CJ McCollum is a veteran. He trusts CJ McCollum, even though
Yeah, I know
CJ
he does.
and all that. But
CJ's a politician, so
he's a politician. So that's what I'm saying about Hawkins. Hawkins is a guy that got to earn his bones with Willie, just like most of these guys doesn't. He does recognize them as
man, you gonna lose these guys. You know what I'm saying?
At some point, it has to switch because you
Yeah,
can't.
it does. This is dangerous territory. It's really dangerous.
Right. It has to switch at some point because 27 games remaining. Willie's coaching in his final season here. The team, with a healthy Pelicans team, maybe it's enough to me. I don't think it's enough just for you to get, because the team is talented enough. It's a playoff team already. If they're healthy, it's a playoff team already. But me, I want to see a
They
series.
straddling the fence, Big Q.
How so?
Because we in a juggle right now as far as with what? The 6th and 7th seed right now.
Yeah, it's not much separation. Let me get that.
Yeah. So that's why I keep saying, like, we're not in the playoffs. We're straddling the fence because we're like between like 2 wins and a couple of wins or whatever, as far as being a play-in team and being a playoff team. So I just, again, that's how it's been going all season. It's been juggling in like maybe 3 or 4 different spots. I think we've been in the 5th spot like maybe 2 or 3 times, but that was very short-lived.
Yeah, they have to. They definitely not. They've won 7 of the last 10. Is this an indication that the Pelicans are finally learning how to play under whatever Willie's system is, the switch all stuff, the rotation? But even to a degree, even on this show, we talked about the point Zion thing. He mentioned it in the presser. I covered it and talked about it early in the broadcast. This point Zion thing, to me, you used the term in the previous show. What was the term that you used describing the point Zion system, Lex? Because we were talking about he talks about it like it's a key element, but over the last several games, we have not seen the Pelicans like previous games. We've seen the Pelicans open up the game with Zion with the ball in his hands,
Yeah.
get involved. It has been more like an afterthought or a secondary or even to some degree third.
It was more like they were fronting. Like because if you think about it, they've had the ball more so like 90% of the time. The ball all season has been in BI's hands. I mean, you can go and look at the stats. I mean, BI's usage rate and the ball in his hands is very high on this team. But in the small amount of time that the ball has been in Zion's hands, a lot more positive things have happened with the ball in his hands than in BI's hands. I mean, I don't know. Guys it opens up the floor a whole lot better. And plus another thing, when we use point Zion actually has gravity. You know,
Right.
I don't know why people want to say BI's gravity, because BI really doesn't have gravity. Not in the way that Zion does. Like Zion will literally have like 4 people guarding him.
Right. I don't think there's anybody that commands that kind of respect.
Yeah. And I think they've been kind of, because I think with that word gravity, I think they've been kind of using that word loosely, trying to, make it appear like, they have the same gravity, and they don't. Like a lot of teams really design their defense and their strategies around Zion. I mean, everybody's trying to close up the paint. Like if you look at the way that like the ball is like rotated or shifted, no one is ever leaving Zion at all. Have you all noticed that? No one is. They'll let Jonas, they'll leave Jonas wide open. They'll leave Larry Nance wide open. They'll leave anybody open. They'd rather BI be open than Zion. Like they're always covering him. They always on weak side help. They're always covering him. They're not coming off of him. And it's funny because why are we not using that more? Like we don't even use that enough. The fact that Zion has so much gravity like that. Ain't nobody leaving him. And if they do, it was by accident. And look, everybody's looking at each other like upset, like, man, you were supposed to get him. You supposed to make sure you got him. Like you gotta. It causes havoc, man. I mean, it's crazy. Like that's a huge problem. And the opponent team will immediately call a timeout, be like, look, I don't care what happens. Y'all got to make sure you all cover Zion. Don't let him have no opening, even on fast breaks. Have you all seen the fast breaks that they have on him? Look,
right.
They would rather anybody else make the layup, but not Zion. They're actually running away from whoever has the ball when during transition. They're running away from that person and covering Zion instead of the person who has the ball. And if you all know basketball, they always teach you stop ball first, stop ball first.
Right.
They don't do that when Zion is running on the other side. They're like, oh, no, no, you ain't throwing that alley. You are not throwing that. You know, they trying so hard to keep that from happening every single time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jay Black dropped some usage rate stats, right? He says Zion's usage rate is 28.8 versus Ingram's 27.2. Just Google it. Thank you, Jay Black. Appreciate you, brother, for always dropping the science. Jay Cobb says, y'all mad. He said, you mad at Willie for not running point Zion more? That's your boy Borrego's fault. Tell the truth. The eye said it himself.
Who's the head coach though?
I'm about to say that, man. I say
You
that
know what I'm
all.
saying? I mean, so
all
is Borrego the head coach or is Willie the head coach?
Yeah, that's the point. I always throw that on them when we talking about the Saints. People say, "It ain't at fault, Q." I'm like, well, who the damn head coach is? Head coach is the boss of the team, man. He the boss of the team on the court. Everything flows through him. Like Jacob said, it ain't Willie. It's the medical team controlling Zion's minutes. And you know who that
Oh,
is?
okay. We getting into that. Well, in
Jacob.
that case, it's Dr. Octopus's fault.
There you
You know what
go.
I'm saying? Because it starts from top to bottom, right? You know what I'm saying?
You know what though?
Okay, well, let's get into it then, Big Q. Let's get into it.
Jacob, see, Lex, he's pulling from his bag from back in the day. Say, Jacob is old Pelican man, so he pulling from the bag back in the day when Gentry came out and made mention of it. They asked about Gentry, and he told them, ask them when they were talking about minutes and control over players, like dealing with minutes or whatnot. He kind of alluded to that, but we knew that all of these minute restrictions and how they handled putting Zion's injury situation, his medical situation versus say a Larry Nance. Like we seen Larry Nance just get marked back up to be healthy, and this guy in there playing some heavy minutes.
Passing in a hurry too.
Right, no minute restriction, no none of that.
Same
But
thing
your
with
boy
Jose when he came back from injury. They didn't work him. They didn't rev him up or the ramp up. That's what it's called. They didn't ramp him up or nothing.
Hey, look, Lex, this is actually, thank you, Kevin. This is actually a hell of a shirt. He says free Jordan, free Jordan Hawkins.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing that. Yeah, that's been over social media, but yeah.
There you go. All right.
Hey, Big Q,
yes.
I'm gonna go out for just a second. My screen locked up on me, so I'm a go out and come back in.
All right, Lex. All right. Iki Max says with point Zion, Pels put up 153 points next game. Willie went away from the plan, just stupid. And when the team is on offensive rut, go inside the Jonas. That's a guaranteed 2 points. Yeah, the Jonas Valanciunas under usage is a major problem. No doubt about it. I mean, we talked about that, and it seems like it was relatively recent because it was that the Pelicans figured out how to effectively utilize Jonas Valanciunas correctly. Like I was like, why, and it's just I don't want to call our coach a fool because he's not a fool, but I think certain things get away from like having understanding the rhythm of the game. If you got a player with a hot hand and then Valanciunas is cooking, and the idea was to get him going early as well. And as Bell gets going early in his defense, his offense, everything, it just flows better. He takes a lot of pressure off of people. And many times the teams that we're playing, they don't have a skill big like that. So you Jonas, you dropping science about Valanciunas, fam, you 100% right. We often talked about that ad nauseum about they're not correctly utilizing Valanciunas, even when he has the hot hand. And you got guys that, man, I'm telling you, they're not even close to his style, to his ability. So yeah, I agree with you on the Val thing, man. That's also something that needs to be brung in for the next 27 games, man. Because the Pelicans are, listen, fam, this team is so flipping and talented. I mean, we got some really good players here. I mean, Valanciunas. If you look at the depth chart, I know we look at this stuff all season long, but if you go across the NBA and look at their depth charts and look at the type of players that they have versus what we have, unless it's some of the elite teams, the Pelicans are a difficult cover, man. They're a difficult team to play against if their minds is right. So we just have to be able to. Willie Green and the staff is going to have to be able to get these guys, man, through this next 27 contests and be able to utilize them correctly. So, like I'm saying, and it really is on Willie Green because the team is going to go as far as he leads them. So he has to clean up a lot of stuff. Ain't no doubt about that, man. So we'll have to do that. All right. So yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Kevin, for that, man. Slim say just stubborn. All right. So anyway, Lex is are you good? You all right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
better now. Yeah, I had too much on my computer, so I had to shut some things down.
Yeah, that happened to me the other day, man. I thought I paid all this damn money for this damn thing and it did that, man. I was upset.
Like,
All right. Yeah, come on, man. This ain't no e-machine, man. It's working with something over here. But anyway, this is let's go hit some news and then we'll bounce back to to talk about Willie, and we'll preview the Rockets matchup. Pelicans signing Malcolm Hill the two-way contract. New Orleans Fields is available two-way roster spot with the addition of Malcolm Hill. Shout out to brother Terry Kimball and the Pelican Scoop. Adrian Wojnarowski reported on Wednesday that the Pels are signing Malcolm Hill to a two-way contract. Hill has spent time with the team's G League affiliate, the Squadron, for most of the season. He's 6'6", former University of Illinois standout who averaged 22 points per game for the Squadron, including scoring a franchise record 44 points in January. Hill shot 40% or over 40% from the three-point line. The team has yet to make an official announcement. He went undrafted in 2017 and bounced around in Europe before returning to the States and signing with the Pels in 21. After being released, he signed with the Hawks, appearing in 3 games that season. He appeared in 24 total NBA games. New Orleans has an open two-way roster spot after converting Jeremiah Robinson Earl to a two-way contract and to a standard one earlier this month. Pelicans' active roster remains at 14. With one more available spot left, New Orleans opens their post-All-Star campaign on Thursday, hosting the Houston Rockets. So that's a little bit of information on that. Also, let people know that the Pelicans did assign E.J. Liddell to the Squadron. So there you go, E.J. Liddell announced today. The Pels announced today that he's been assigned to the Squadron. 6'6", 242, appeared in 8 games for the Pelicans this season, averaging half a point. I don't know how you do that. And almost a half a rebound in less than 3 minutes of action. So he definitely needs some G League help. Liddell also last assigned to the Birmingham Squadron team February the 1st. Holds, he says, his averages are just almost 19 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 assists in 14 games with the Squadron this season. That's pretty respectable for young E.J. Liddell. And I think that's pretty much some of the news. Also, this is another news that kind of broke with Pelicans draftee Karlo Metkovic to join the Birmingham Squadron in the G League. So there you go. Metkovic is their 52nd pick in the 22 draft by the Pels, who reportedly joined the Birmingham Squadron in the G League, according to Michael Skoto of Hoops Heights. Metkovic, who was born in Bosnia, he played his past 2 years in Slovenia with Olympia. I ain't even try to pronounce that. He averaged over 15 points a game, 7 rebounds, almost 2.5 blocks, 1.1 on the steals, while shooting 63% from the field in 34 games. He's 6'10", forward. They call him forward. Played with the Pelicans in the summer league last year, averaging just over 4 points a game, 2.3 on the blocks, 1 assist, 1 steal in 4 appearances. He had his best game on July the 11th with 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 blocks. So as you get Michael Skoto's tweet right there, the Pelicans hold the right to Metkovic and will opt to have him start with the Squadron, who have 13 games left in the regular season. He could finish the season in the G League and then join the Pelicans for the postseason. Metkovic has represented Croatia in several international events, most recently in the FIBA Eurobasket. He averaged 6 points and 3.5 rebounds on almost 78% shooting from the field in 6 appearances. The 22-year-old is highly touted for his ability on both ends of the court. He has great mobility at his size. He can run the floor well on offense and protect the paint on defense. He's shown improvement with his shot, converting almost 43% shooting from three-point line. So there you go from Karlo Metkovic, and that's some quick drop down or some quick news on the Pelicans before we get into the Houston Rocket preview. Lex, please feel free to chime in on some of those stories if you want to. If not, we'll just kind of move into the Rockets preview.
Is Makovich, is he gonna, I guess he's gonna be in that, securing that last spot?
Possibly. That's what it looks like. It's setting it up to be, that he might get that last spot.
Okay. I mean, really, there's not much to think about it, because really, I don't think Makovich or Malcolm, I don't think they're going to be playing anyway. You know what I'm saying? Since Willie Green's talking about tightening up,
He did say
his rotation, and things like that. I just, unless the games are blowout wins, I just don't see these guys. I mean, they're just filling a roster spot, really, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's well, we knew they had interest in Karlo Metkovic. Like I said, I think you're right. Based on Willie's behaviors, you probably won't see a Karlo Metkovic. I mean, you'll see Zeller before you see a Karlo Metkovic, but I mean, this seems like more of a future thing for the Pelicans to get him here. So, I mean, it's definitely something going on in the future, but not so much because, like you said, Willie Green is not going to put Carlo Mekovic in the game. And, he trusts his veterans and guys that plays defense, and hopefully can get him to break that. All right. Now, they're saying he's like 6'10". Mekovic is listed as 6'10", I want to say. I have to pull up his profile and double check on that. But I thought he was 6'10" when we did the draft special. I thought he was listed as, he's 6'10". He is 6'10". That's right, Jacob. He's 6'10". All right. So anyway, Lex, looking at the Houston Rockets matchup, the Pelicans are down in the series, right? They've they beat the Rockets in the last day of January, the 31st, and the series is currently 2-1 Houston's favor. The Rockets are 3-7 of the last 10 contests. Sengun, Valanciunas and Sengun was off in the game, but this team is a scrappy team. They often give the Pelicans problems. Your matchup predictor got the Pelicans going away in a runaway fashion. So let's kind of delve into it, kind of jump right into this Houston Rockets preview for tomorrow. Like I said, this team is always a spunky team. So what we need to do to smack them down and even the series on the season?
Well, I'm gonna start off with what I always say: energy. Like, y'all got plenty of rest. Like, the only person who was in All-Star weekend was Jordan Hawkins, and we all know that he's either not going to get playing time or going to get very, very minimal playing time. So that means everybody's legs are fresh. Y'all need to go out there and y'all need to play. It's the second half of the season. It's time to, show up and show out. Like, it's time to get it together, because right now these next 27 games is preparation for the playoffs. Every single game from here on out. And so they need to come out with the right energy. They either need to match their energy or exceed their energy. And let's see, this is a home game?
That's right.
Okay. Well,
you
got to play even better at home, because the Pelicans have not been playing well at home. They've actually been playing better on the road. So y'all need to play like, hey, you got, a whole bunch of fans supporting y'all at your own, in your own house. Come out with the right energy. Play with a lot of pace. Put them on their heels. Definitely utilize Point Zion. If you're going to emphasize that you're going to do Point Zion, then do it. Let's not, be in and out on that. We need to kind of home in on a style for this team, because we're playing too many different ways, and it's not helping with the consistency of the play of the team. So we really do need to utilize that, and not just use it for a few minutes and then go away from it for the next 3 quarters or 4 quarters. Just, be consistent in the style that you're going to play in. And then move the ball. Those shots are going to be there, especially with, Zion picking up, his conditioning and being a lot more active. Just knock down shots. I think one of the huge Achilles heel for this team is we make things too difficult. Like not making the basic pass, not attempting the easiest shot. Sometimes we get into the dribble flow. And it's like, no, we don't need to do that. We want to dribble less and move the ball and have player movement so we can get the best shot and the easiest shot. If we're getting layups the whole game, I am perfectly fine with that. Because the goal is to make the game easy, not make the game hard. I know sometimes we will have tough shots at times, like during the game, but tough shots shouldn't be like all the time throughout the whole game. they should only come like once in a blue moon if we're actually playing the game the right way. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. And then obviously like the coaching, you know what I'm saying? Feeling the flow of the game, understanding the flow of the game, and making the right reads as far as rotations and things. So it's time to just play, good basketball. We need to just really lock in. Everybody needs to be on the same page. It's clutch time. This is it. This is it. And every game is going to be like this. So definitely they got to take it one game at a time. But yeah, definitely coming out with that right energy and maintaining that energy throughout all 4 quarters is going to be key.
Yeah, I agree. I think this Rocket team, man, I got the stats up here with the Rockets, and if anything, uh, they're a team that will give you play some defense on you. They're top 10 in opposition points per game. That's top 10, 112.7. Top 5 in opposition field goal percentage. They're there. Top and even in top 5 in rebounding. They're top 5 in the NBA in rebounding. So I mean, they're going to play. Now they kind of stink everywhere else, and they're still trying to figure it out. But we've seen this team gave us problems before because we didn't have
Mhm.
that reach that energy and match that. So we definitely
Yeah.
got to step our games up against the Rocket team and keep this winning streak going. So yeah, that's much
Mhm.
love on that, Lex. Kevin says Q really need to place more emphasis on Larry and other role players to drive to the lane and become more score minded. So many times opposing teams at loading up on BI and Z on those top handoffs. All right. Thank you, Kevin, for that comment. He also said major off the turnover happened because we forced passes to BI and Zion as well. All right. Majority. I got you. I got you, Kevin. All right. Man, I tell you what, Lex, you wanna I just think that, like I said, Pelicans after the break, we have to focus on that one and I know it sounds cliches, but the one game at a time approach that most people have. That's what we have to focus on here. And like I said, yeah, Willie needs to do better with his rotations. And this is the time. He's this third year here as a head coach. I mean, we have to see some major improvement. And this is the step in which a lot is riding on it if Willie can't get this team deep off in the playoffs. I don't know. Probably the Pelicans would be happy of bringing Willie Green back if the team just happens to make the playoffs. But I would like to see, as a faithful, the Pelicans win a series and move in deep off into the playoffs, man, and build some experience as a unit together going forward. I think that's what about. But feel free to chime in, Lex.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. I think also going along with, what was said in the chat, one thing that's really going to help is guys got to be ready to knock down shots because they're getting the open shots. We got to do a better job of just, knocking, making teams pay. I know if I was Najee or Jose, I would be offended if somebody's playing off of me to double on Zion, to double on BI. It's like, man, then if that bothers you, knock down your shots. Become a threat out there. And I think everybody needs to have that mindset because if everybody has it, because the thing is that those double teams and triple teams and quadruple teams are coming because the teams are gonna pick their poison. They're gonna be like, look, yeah, we're gonna leave them open. If they do that, then knock down your shot because you're wide open. At least for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. That's enough time to get your shot off. But they really have to knock down shots. And then another thing, um, the rebounds. I think the rebounds have really been kind of challenging for us, but it's gonna have to be a collective thing as far as getting those rebounds. Because the rebounds, as I always say, is more possessions. More possessions are more opportunities. And so if we increase those opportunities as far as having the ball compared to, the other team, there's a high probability that we'll win the games. And then the next thing is obviously your favorite is hitting our free throws. When obviously we already know about the situation as far as calls with refs, but when we do get the calls, we got to knock those shots down. And I think we've actually been improving in that area. So um, I'm expecting for the team to continue to improve and do their thing at the free throw line.
Yeah, I hope so. You're absolutely right. I'm a fundamental guy. I like winning the game, how the game's supposed to be won. Fundamentally speaking, if you get free throws, the term is free throws. They call it a charity stripe. I mean, it's supposed to be something that's next to free. I mean, this is just take it. We're giving you this, and like I said, sometimes we don't always see Zion. We've seen over the last several games they've been giving Zion some more calls for him to get there, and he did have a game where he hit all of his free throws. But we need to see a better a better shooting performance from the foul line. Also, I'm heavy on rebounds and low turnovers. Pelicans have done a pretty good job of keeping the turnovers late in most of these games, or low, excuse me, in most of these games. But the rebounds also have been something interesting. I also would like to see more offensive rebounds from the Pelicans. Far too often, I see how Willie Green runs his offense, and it affords the Pelicans one shot. There's nobody under the rim for a stick back, so it's pressure on them to hit the initial shot. Who's in place to go and get the offensive rebound, and that's something that I see often when I'm watching Willie's scheme that it didn't account for. So I mean, there's different things that I would like to see more of, because some of this stuff, if you can do this stuff that we just spoke about very well, the fundamentals, man, that'll help you in the playoffs, especially when you have games when you get an opportunity to go to the foul line and it comes down to 1 or 2 points. And we've covered this many games during the season where the Pelicans, they lose by 2 or 3 points and they miss 7 at the foul line. So I mean, this type of stuff, the good teams do this stuff well. They do this type of stuff well. So anyway, with that being said, we're gonna get ready to kind of check out. Lex, you want to chime in on? You want to kind of talk about Willie? I know you kind of popped in late. You want to kind of talk about anything else going with the Pelicans so far?
Just
Sure. They said free Lexxah. That's what they told me. Kevin says free.
Hey, I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of concerns, but I mean, they just got to play the right way, man. I mean, we've all been waiting for this team to break out of this rut and really win at a high level. Not just win, but win at a high level. There's a difference. And so, like, winning at a high level is playoff winning. Play like winning not just a game in the playoff, but winning a series. And we have to get to that point. And I know it's been a long time coming, but we just got to get there. And look, I do want to say this. Look, I'm gonna just let y'all know right now, I ain't trying to hear about no win is a win no more. Man, look, it's preparation time for the playoffs. We trying to prepare, and the thing is that if we're still making mistakes and things that that need to be addressed, we're still making those type of mistakes. That's not going to work in the playoffs, because in the playoffs they exploit you. They exploit your weaknesses. And so it's not so much as about, the fact that we win the game. It's how we're winning the game, or it's how we're losing the game. Hopefully we don't have too much of the losing part, but gotta home in on the things that this team's got to work on, because it's all about seeing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is what? Succeeding in the playoffs. Each and every game is preparing this team for the playoffs. So it's a mentality. It's not just getting the win. All right, guys, we got the win. But how many turnovers did you have? You had a whole lot of turnovers. Yeah, you won the game, but you had a lot of turnovers. You won the game, but you all did atrocious on rebounding. We got to fix that. You won the game, but the ball wasn't moving very well. No, there was some hero ball. You know what I'm saying? That's just to give examples. Like, those are things that we got to work on and polish up, because in the playoffs, that's not going to work. You can't expect to win a playoff game if you're missing rebounding assignments, if you're missing defensive assignments, if you're not hustling to get the ball, if you're coming out with the wrong energy, if you're not sustaining that energy and intensity throughout the whole game. That's a mentality. And I guess some people would say a Mamba mentality, if you want to put it that way. But, that's what it takes to win at a high level. And that's why I always talk about that all the time.
Indeed, Lex. And man, listen, I've realized, like I said, been covering this, doing this for a while. And what I do realize since they put this current core of players together is that this is the very first season that we've seen them play this many games together, because the prior seasons they were hurt. You had this guy hurt, this guy hurt, this guy hurt,
Yeah.
this guy hurt. And then you got a new coach, not an established coach or a guy like a Doc Rivers, somebody that has an extensive Coach Bud or anybody like that have some some really good coaching experience and championship experience. You mix that up with a rookie, head coach coming in who never was a head coach before. He's learning as they're learning. So you got all of this going on, and now it's a pressure cooker because you got all these guys healthy for the first time since they've been together, like for an extended period of time. And Willie has to figure a way to make sure he keeps this all moving. So he's gonna have to heavily rely on guys like Borrego and the rest of these staff, these guys that he picked to be his guys to do it. So at the end, it's a pressure cooker right now in the flocking nation. Let me tell you what, we don't want to hear nothing. We don't want to just see you just make the playoffs. We want to see at least a series win, that you beat or challenge somebody in the series or do something, man. Shouldn't be no, you're not going in as an 8 seed. You going in, you should be going in there in the playoffs as at least between 1 to 3. I mean, 1 to 3, even one at the least, very least 4. I mean, they're tied with the Suns. So I mean, they got to take care of business, man. Everything got to ratchet up several degrees for the Pelicans, man, moving into this thing. Like I
Hey.
said, a lot's hinging on this. Go ahead, Lex.
And Big Q, the thing is that this is not just the Pelicans coming out. Like, everybody knows that is a playoff contender right now or a play-in contender. They know that it's time to turn it up. The Pelicans aren't the only team in the league that knows this. So this is everybody. Everybody is trying to, rev it up. Everybody's preparing. So we can't think that, we're preparing and we're just going to be cool about it. No. These other teams are coming. They're trying to get it too. They're trying to polish up and get better and, execute and all those things as well. So that's another thing that we have. We're about to see other teams their best basketball as well. So it's not going to be easy, and we don't want it to be easy, because in the playoffs it's not going to be easy. We need these challenges, and we need to step up to those challenges. And like I shared with you earlier, Big Q, as far as with Draymond Green. Draymond Green said it again over All-Star break on Sunday. He said, "Ain't nobody out here worried about the Pelicans." That's what he said. Earlier in the season, Draymond Green said that the Pelicans weren't built like that. It's time to show that you are. And, it's time to show that, hey, the league does need to worry about the Pelicans. But in order for that to happen, the Pelicans have to come out and be about that. Because I keep saying, and I don't know if they remember that or not, but, and I know a lot of people don't like Draymond. I don't care for him either. But you know what? He is a champion. So you got to respect him to an extent. And if, he's saying something like that, it's like, you got to start showing the league that you're up for the challenge.
Right. I agree. I played that too, Lex, early in the show, right after the Willie Green interview. Our writers, Real Wright at the whodatdaily.com wrote an article that's on screen. I just sent it to you. That has that very tweet, well, that video, a slice of the video where Draymond Green he says it twice because Barkley didn't hear it the first time. He said the first time he says, ain't nobody, he says, it's nobody worrying about the damn Pelicans. And then Charles said, what? Because it was kind of loud. And he said he changed it to nobody's worried about New Orleans Pelicans. But also, Rel did a really wonderful job of adding a clip which speaks about him saying that the Pelicans aren't cut like that. He said cut like that in the interview. So yeah, that's an article I just sent you, so you can check that one out. But yeah, it provides. This is Draymond Green, a championship player, a part of a Golden State dynasty, a big part of it, the heart and soul of it, pretty much. Without him, a lot of that don't get going. But he's the guy that's telling them about, he's a big mouth guy, but in the end, he's the one that's saying the Pelicans, they're not cut like that. There's nobody worrying about them. And like I said, they need to take that as a challenge. You've been mentioning that a lot. We've been talking about that part of the game. That's very disrespectful, but that should be used as motivation for the Pelicans to do something. They should get up, this should be a motivational factor. So before we get ready to leave, listen, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all chiming in. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Shout out to Mark T963 coming on over from different platforms. Shout out to you, fam. Shout out to Tevin saying Lexxah talking like the team made it to the second round already. We know we have some. No, she just, but that's the temperament family of the Pelican base. We got to remember that. That's why I'm like a historian. I really like the history of things. I'm good at that. But this is the thing, that remind the family members about the fact that the Pelicans, man, this is like people like this the first year, man. Really, it's like the last year, because all of the time frame then they put the core of the team together, being all the injuries, ate them up for all of those years. When they finally healthy, is at the back end of that situation. Like you're in that fourth situation. Willie's in the final year of that contract. So I mean, this is like toward the back. So he has the pressure of having to gel this team or getting them to get together now. I mean, the injuries ate away the timeline. So the Pelicans right now, they're going all in on this team, and they believe that this team has what it takes to take it to that next level. And the truth is, this team does have the talent to do it, but can the coaching and the talent get on the same page consistently is what we're trying to say. That's what it comes down to. And we'll find out. Lex, 27 games left. What's your call on how many of the 27 the Pelicans win?
In theory or
actuality? I'm saying in your honest estimation, realistically speaking, how many games do you feel that the Pelicans will win out of the final 27?
Can you put up the schedule?
Sure. Hold on just a second. I had it up for soar. Hold on.
I don't even know what the schedule looks like. Is it hard, easy, a medium type schedule?
They have some stuff there. They do have a few games, a stretch of games that are pretty difficult. Okay. Houston, we got 3 home games, Houston, Miami, and Chicago. You got then February the 27th and the 28th, the Pelicans are on the road against New York and Indiana. They come home for a home game, March the 1st against the Pacers. March the 5th, they travel to Toronto. The next game is Philadelphia and Atlanta, 3-game road trip. They come home for 3 games, Cleveland, LA Clippers, Portland, and then they're back on the road for 4 games, Brooklyn, Orlando, Miami, Detroit, and then Lex. This is a serious stretch of games from March the 26th to April the 3rd. They have
last stretch is like
pretty tough. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. And back to back OKC, Milwaukee, Boston, and Phoenix. Oh my gosh.
And Orlando. Don't forget Orlando's a team that
I know Orlando, and that's that's in Orlando? Or no, these are all home games.
It's 5, it's like 1 to 6.
Man, golly, that stretch right there is mean.
Yeah, 6 home games. And
Man.
yeah, that's playoff style basketball you're gonna watch. OKC, Milwaukee, Boston, Phoenix.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And
That's
then they
like
have
that's like playing like number 1 seed, another number 1 seed, another number 1 seed. Oh my gosh, man. That stretch is gonna be. I will say this. During that stretch, that stretch is gonna be interesting. Cause we may have some hiccups there, but one thing I will say is it'll really show where the Pelicans are in that stretch. Cause that's like a playoff series. The only difference is it's not one team, it's different teams.
right. Yeah, I know these, and I was looking at it, and it struck me as kind of, you know, unique because how often do you see 6 straight home games? You don't see that often.
Yeah.
But it
But
softens the
against
blow.
juggernauts though, it's
I
like
know, but
there's no like Detroit up in there or you know
you
what I'm
get a
saying? The
Detroit,
Wizards.
you get a Detroit as the final road game before you open up them 6 straight home games. You're gonna
Yeah.
get to San
Man,
Antonio.
that's a trick, man. That's a trick, Francis. That's a trick. Oh my gosh. That is mean. That's almost like, all right, we can relax in this game. And then the intensity of the game just rises up.
You
But
look at
yeah, that last stretch, like period, because I think, yeah, after that, you have San Antonio and then you have Portland. But anytime you play the Lakers, it's always gonna be up there. I don't care what nobody says. Wherever they are, and plus they just picked up Dinwiddie. Um, but yeah, this last stretch. Well, how many games is that? Let's see. After Detroit, 2,
about
yeah,
12 of us.
the last 11 games are no joke. But you know what? They're gonna be tough. And for this team, that'll be a good thing. Because the thing is, it's like, hey man, at that point, it'll be time to be like, look, y'all gotta know who you are and go out there and you know, you're gonna be challenged. You're gonna be challenged. So it'll be interesting to see if they have it together by that time. But this stretch right here is gonna be the telltale. If the Pelicans really have it going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it is very crucial. Like I said, that is playoff basketball right there. OKC, Milwaukee, Boston, and
Last
Phoenix.
11 games, yeah.
Yeah.
Last 11 games is straight up nothing but playoff games.
This
Nothing
is
but.
this the thing though, Lex. The one thing I can really say about those tough 6 games, that's tough 6 home games, is the fact that they're at home and none of them are back-to-back games. Thank goodness for that. So so that's something to be positive for. But this is what we want to see, how good this team is. And this is the stretch that'll tell if they're ready for what they're talking about.
Oh, we are gonna know. We're gonna know just how good this team is when we come down for these last 11 games, y'all. All right, for real.
It's serious business.
Yes, this is serious.
Serious
It's like,
business.
man, shoot, life just got real. You know what I'm saying? We are gonna know what this Pelicans team is made of once they start playing these games, for sure. No doubt about it.
All right. Go ahead, Lex. I'm sorry.
But I have them. If they're really playing like they should be, I'll give them 20 out of the 27. I might be kind of nice.
What? What? You are kidding. You're not gonna give them 20 wins.
What?
No, you
15? 15? What? Hey man, I'm just hey, I mean, I want them to win, man. But like I said, I could be being too nice or something. But what did you have in mind?
What I said, fam. I said what 20. I thought 20. I said 20. Some people said 17. Some people said 16.
27 minus 11. Do it look? Are we assuming that they gonna lose these down the stretch?
Remaining. 27
you know what I'm
games.
saying?
27 games remaining. Lex 20-7, and 5 and 5 or 4 or 5 of them might be in that stretch.
Because like those 11 games, the 11 games they got Portland and it's got Orlando. But hey, we gotta be we gotta beat some of these top teams, man. We gotta beat them. It won't be easy, but we got to. This team's got to prove something to themselves, man. That they can beat top tier teams. And they sure are playing well. Man, sure are playing well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This will show everything, man. We'll see exactly how far they can take it, man. We'll see what they can do. Anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being in this one, man. Much love to the fam. We'll return tomorrow to recap the Pelicans matchup against the Houston Rockets. That'll be in the Smoothie King Center. The Pelicans should be able to get that dub. But once again, man, we're going to keep a positive disposition and keep it real as we always do and see just how far they can take this thing. So much love to the fam. Y'all feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed as well. Shout out to the fam for coming out tonight, man. And listen, we're going to holler at y'all on the next one, man. Y'all feel free to share that stream. We're going to be back tomorrow. Much love and go Pels.
Go Pels.
Show us the edge. Yes. The chip on the shoulders, the fight and the passion that comes from within. Whoa. Try to win on every level. Yeah. Expectations high. Gotta show them you can fly. Play harder, better, smarter. Baby, put the league on notice. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah. Whoa, and see the walk of shame enough. Wanna see the walk of winning, time to come up and bring out the apple. Don't every play, every possession. How bad you want it, love, do you want it all? This ain't a blood of love, built for something greater. Attacking all obstacles, coming for the ring, my precious. You got the juice, the will, the heart, the fire. Show them the proof, show them the it shall be done. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below.